9. Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. Liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11. Roger, Tower.
Welcome to the Alien Probe Podcast. It is Saturday, July 5th, 2025. I'm Doug, this is Matt, and we got Phil Summers on. Woo. Phil,
what's up, everybody?
After some slight technical difficulties. What's going on, Phil? What's happening? How are you?
Oh, man, America's birthday just happened.
That's right.
That's right. That's
Happy
what it's all
birthday,
about.
America.
Happy birthday, America.
Yeah, what better way to, celebrate America's birthday with a podcast about aliens?
That's right.
You're right. Because it's America and we can do that.
It's America.
That's right.
Yeah, that's one thing that makes this country great.
That's right. We talk about what we want.
So what's going on? What's your so you spent some time in the Air Force right out of high school, it sounds like.
I've got a photo here. This is
nice.
me
All
right after basic training.
Right?
Wow.
This is in 2007. I was in basic training and I was at tech school for C-17.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that's how, when I signed up, I signed up thinking I was going to be traveling the world and everything, and I get stuck in my hometown.
Oh, no way.
Flying around it, huh?
Everybody's all crying and stuff like that when they find out they're or they're excited. Oh, I'm going to Hawaii. Oh, I'm going to Japan. Oh, I'm going to, all
Germany.
these places everywhere. And here I'm stuck. I'm like, there's a thing here.
There's something wrong here.
But yeah,
what'd
I
you
was
do?
a C-17. I was a C-17 mechanic.
Okay.
Basically, we did the pre-flight checks. We did all the mechanic work.
Right.
Basically, that dealt with like landing gears and tires, changing tires out mostly. The minor repairs and stuff like that. That with the logistics and inside the plane and everything.
Right.
And we did a lot of the repairs and stuff inside the 315th MXS hangar.
Oh.
And if you've seen the movie with Chris Kyle, the American Sniper, there's a scene in that movie where he's coming in Charleston, and you can see where I worked in that hangar.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Nice. It's actual picture.
I just watched that movie last week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Love that movie.
Yeah, that was a great one. Another one of my favorite movies about that kind of topic is one with Mark Wahlberg and I think six something. I don't remember what it's
I
called.
know what you're talking about.
But he dies in the mountains and it's like that's the end of it.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites as well.
Oh, wow.
But
I remember that one.
We're here talk about aliens, not war.
Well, this is how it works with this podcast. Yeah.
We build, or we just go right into it. Whatever you want to do.
Oh man, but yeah, I mean, this is also a magazine featuring me, and I don't know if he's.
We can see the picture. Yes.
Yeah, we can see it.
That's me with tattooless.
Nice.
Paranormal Underground from 2011.
Okay.
And the equipment that's in here is actually at a museum in Savannah.
Oh, wow.
One of my pieces of equipment is in Savannah Paranormal Museum.
That's cool.
That's my contribution to the paranormal field. Is I did a lot of radio frequency work where I messed around with radio frequencies quite a bit to kind of perfect the effect of the constant channel surfing for the frequencies. And it started off to be called the Ghost Box. That's what it was called. Then,
Yeah.
then it
Spirit
became
box.
the SB7. It's Spirit Box, the actual dedicated version that was not just a radio that a regular radio. It was already hacked, and then the apps came up, and then that kind of messed with the whole idea of what the Ghost Box was, because EMF affects paranormal investigations, and now everybody uses their phone all the time. I'm probably one of the only few that actually uses analog equipment
Right.
nowadays.
Right.
It's
I'm
safe.
talking with my tri-field meter and everything.
Right. Instead of digital.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is it safer that way?
it's safer that way, and it also less interference that way.
Yeah. You're not getting
Oh,
all these
really?
digital things moving around all everywhere.
Yeah, like just happened.
Yeah.
And you could control the rate of frequency change over the channel surfing. So, like, say for example, if you want to go into 40 hertz and lower, you could get into the ham radio station frequencies and
Right.
stuff like that, and hear a lot less of music and a lot less of telephone. The sounds of telephone wireless and all that stuff. All that gets thrown in the mix when you're dealing with the Ghost Box.
So frequencies, you think, play a part? I know in that show,
Oh yeah,
Skinwalker, they use a lot of different frequencies, or not different.
Oh yeah, Skinwalker Ranch. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm actually supposed to go out towards Arizona, Sedona, and like the next month.
Nice.
This- You talked
yeah.
to Travis Taylor? You talked to Travis Taylor?
Travis Taylor? No, I have not met Travis Taylor.
I lived in Arizona. I lived in where Travis Walton,
Okay, yeah.
about where he got abducted at. I lived in
Fire
the
in the Sky.
White Mountains. It was Overguard, Heber is where he got abducted, and I lived right next door, basically Clay Springs and Shello.
Okay.
It's that area.
Well, Arizona was outside of the hotbed of UFO. Well, the research going into planes that you see now,
Yeah.
like the B-21 Raider that just was released like a couple years ago, it's based in Arizona. And that plane is literally responsible for most of the UFO sightings you've seen. I mean, the things that thing could do.
Right. It's the one that's shaped like a triangle,
It's
right?
a bat wing.
Yeah,
Or a bat wing, yeah.
Yeah, it's basically like a.
Looks
It
like B2.
pretty much is a
Little.
UFO. It's saucer almost. If you look at it straight, it looks like a UFO,
Right.
no doubt.
That's wild.
And that plane, they started doing testing on that plane in the 70s. Like the structure and everything. The
Right.
B2 is the first iteration of the 21.
Right.
So you'll start seeing B-21s doing missions here very soon. Very soon.
Was it Northrop also? I know the B2 is
Yeah.
Northrop. So the 21
Yeah.
was also. How fast does that thing go, the 21? Do you know? Matt probably just looked it up.
I mean, you Google all this information up.
It doesn't hover though, correct? It doesn't hover. It doesn't hit
There is
different.
a plane that does hover though. And the video that I showed you, Doug.
Yeah.
Phantom, right? You're talking F4 back in the day?
No, not
Nope.
the F4. I'm talking about it's the F-22 Raptor.
Really?
F-22 Raptors can hover. Yes,
they-
they can.
They're pretty loud, right, when they hover?
Yeah,
Because they turn their jets
They
downward.
turn the jets off.
So-
They go down, and then you hear the
Right.
the afterbird burst.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And but the thing is, those things fly so high that you really don't hear it.
Yeah.
Like the stealth capabilities of the F-20, even the F-22, is quite fantastic.
Right.
And what that video that I showed you, the way that I figured out what it was I went into Photoshop and zoomed in all the way, and I was like, I identified the specific parts of the plane. I'm like, that's definitely not a saucer. That's a plane.
Right.
I was like, which way it was flying and everything. It was flying from Charleston to west, which is Columbia, and that's where the Navy base for the Raptors are.
Right.
And so I contacted a buddy of mine who's the Joint Air Force. He's the commander of public affairs, Joint Air Force. He's also the meteorologist. He's the neighbor. He's the old neighbor of mine.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, was there anything over it? He's like, not that I know of. And I was like, okay. I didn't know anybody in the Navy to know that it was a Raptor, and I was trying to figure out what it was
Right.
that I saw. But the reason why I'm talking about that specific video was I filmed that in June of last year, and you didn't start hearing about the drones until when? October.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like the beginning of October, the 7th to be
Right.
exact.
Right.
Is when the first reports in New Jersey started coming out, and then it started spreading out towards New York, and it's it spread everywhere.
So what were those drones, Phil?
Those drones were specifically for multiple functions. There were weather drones that were basically mapping out the area for NOAA. People didn't think about that because there were massive volcano explosions that were changing the atmosphere and everything, that for the weird ass weather that we're seeing now. And the greenhouse effects after these volcanic explosions from last year. And we have another volcano that's going out towards Oregon that's supposed to blow up any time now. And so, they're mapping out, the different weather patterns. They were also mapping out the bases for the Golden Dome that they're releasing. Or actually, the Golden Dome already exists.
What is the
Okay.
Golden? What's our Golden Dome?
That's the Space Force.
Yeah.
So the Golden Dome is, you saw Israel's Iron Dome
Right.
work last week.
Right.
So basically, that's going to be our Golden Dome, but we're extending that out to
Space.
to a specific area past the air.
Yeah.
So you have to have a specific function or a designation for a military service to be installed
Right.
into your government, into its the Pentagon,
Right.
what they do.
So it's going to be kind of non-traditional kind of Golden Dome. I mean, is it going to be lasers, or is it really?
There's going to be lasers. We have boats
Yeah.
with lasers. We have laser
Yeah.
boats. I mean, this is the stuff that Tesla was working on,
Yeah.
and had the diagrams and the drawings and all that stuff that basically showed how this stuff works, the manual and everything. They took that and put it on a boat. Now we have laser boats.
What's the range on that?
They could go on forever, dude. They could go on forever. I mean, it's just like a laser. I mean, you shine a laser out into the sky,
Yeah.
you see that thing go all the way up into space.
Yeah.
You get a high enough powered one, like the ones that they advertise on TikTok, those green ones.
Yeah. Yeah, we do MUFON. We go to sky watches, and what they use to point out if somebody sees something, they use a laser pointer to so everybody
Right.
can see it. It's pretty cool. We have to watch out though, because sometimes planes fly over and
Yeah, you don't want
accidentally
a laser pointer.
shine that in
That's-
their face.
That's jail time right
That's
there.
a federal offense, correct?
Gonna
That
get
is
arrested.
definitely jail time.
Yeah.
But my thing is the political climate and the UFO community now is the government just basically said, "Oh, we've been lying to you guys for the past since Roswell. And you know, the guys like Luis Gonzalez and you know, the Blink-182 guitarist, I forget his name, or vocalist.
Yeah, the guy.
They had that UFO task force. That was just nothing but, you know, the dog and pony show just to talk about the things that we need for defense now, because we were lacking for you know, decades and defense on our own nation. So we had to make up the alien thing, because they were talking about aliens, but like from the, you know, other countries. So now they had ice drones that were, you know, locating people before the deportation process even started, called Operation Tidal Wave. Have you heard about that?
I haven't heard of tidal wave. That's new.
Okay, so that's first in the phase of you know.
Is that out there for information, or is that something that's SAP?
That maybe it may be out there already.
What's it called? Operation what?
Tidal wave.
Tidal wave. And those drones, because in October 7th, if you look at that date, October 7th, you see the cartel. That's when they designated the cartel as a terrorist organization. Now all the major cartel organizations as terrorist organizations. And that was when one of them shot via a drone and killed a Border Patrol agent.
Oh.
Okay.
Wow.
First it was in 1943.
No way.
No, but there's two Operation Tidal Waves. One that was in 43.
Well, that one was for Germans.
Yeah, and then the other
one's Operation Paperclip. That's Operation Paperclip.
Well, that's where we got all the German scientists over to work for us.
As a matter of fact, Wernher von Braun was basically Tony Stark of Operation Paperclip, and he was out near Roswell testing craft, even out there in 1947, testing craft. So a specific craft called the Die Block, which was basically a bell-shaped. It was almost a saucer, but it could hover and it could do things that things weren't able to do back in the day.
Isn't that the one that went into time, like disappeared, and then it appeared later on in the future, like Kecksburg or something?
Yes, and that it appeared once, and actually, I believe that Roswell, so you have the crash at Roswell. Everybody knows about that one, but there's another crash, which happened literally the weekend before.
Oh wow!
That people really don't know about, and that I believe was the Die Block, and that's what I believe got transferred to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Not the
Roswell ones.
Yeah, not the Roswell, tinfoil. There's also another operation that they were doing called Operation High Jump. There was a Navy.
I've heard of that one.
There was a Navy program where they were
Antarctic.
Yeah, and they were testing things through balloons all the time, and it was the same type of material that I forget the dude's name. If you look it up on Google right now, you see his name. But the material that's in those photos, it looks so.
It's
Earth made.
Yeah, it's Mylar balloon. Well, they got an actual Mylar balloon to show that that's what it was, but it wasn't what it was. And the guy was embarrassed even. I forget who it was on that classic picture. You could just tell by the look on his face. He's like, "Oh, brother, I have to say."
Yeah, they showed interviews of him like later in life. He's like, "I wish I never took that photo."
Of course. He was not. Well, Wright-Patterson. I mean, I always keep one eye on Wright-Patterson every time I hear. Did you ever go there in your travels?
No, I never went to Wright-Patterson, but I actually, when I was in basic training, I ate dinner after with Christopher Meeker's family, and I was his son Blaine Meeker was a buddy of mine in basic, the 326 Bulldogs. That's when he saw that number 326. That's what that was. My squadron that I trained in.
And so Meeker got court-martialed, right?
Yes, he did. And the very first official statement that they made about that, I remember reading it back in 2018 or something, like 17 or 18 when that happened. I remember reading it. I was like, oh, here we go. This is exciting. and the fact that I know the guy, and I was like, man, you know, the way that it happened, he, like, they first said it was he insubordination, and then after a while,
They said
yeah,
I thought it was a sexual. I thought it was sexual
adultery.
mixed
It
conduct.
changed to adultery, and he got jail time for that in the brig.
Wow.
Just
21 days.
good thing they
And he
don't
had to
do
pay
that in the public.
7,000 Yeah, I mean, and even before those reports, the insubordination, I believe that the insubordination report was he was saying too much.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he was he is that kind of guy. He's
Right.
He
won't stop.
He can't shut up.
Yeah.
He won't stop.
But does he know about all the things that? I mean, I think that there was a lot. I think there's been craft taken too.
Well,
Oh, there's books about Wright Patterson.
Of course, they
Many.
store craft all the time in these hangars.
It's huge. I
Isn't
mean,
there a room
You
or
know,
something?
these hangars are used
The
for
red room or green
used for
room?
different purposes. Like, say for example, you know, the 315th MXS hangar that whenever they had the air shows here, they would bring the Blue Angels in.
Oh, yeah.
And well, I'd be just like walking around a Blue Angel like nonchalantly.
Yeah. Wow.
So they use those hangars all the time for different purposes, and there's actual on these bases. There's the areas on these bases where you don't even see it on like radar or any kind of satellite.
Yeah.
That there's coverage, or it's underground, or it's in a mountain. These bases exist.
Yeah. Underground too. That's where
I
they
mean-
hide
I mean-
things away
Yeah.
from satellite is underground.
I mean, that
Smart.
Lazar was not far off when he was saying like S4, when he was talking about S4 and how, you know, it's
Right.
you know, in the mountains and stuff like that. That exists.
There's
like,
plenty
stuff
of
like that
underground.
exists.
Yeah.
So that's no secret there. Like, that's public information out there now that anybody could talk about. But 10 years ago, nah.
Do you believe the Bob Lazar story?
I knew that was coming out. I knew
The
that was coming out.
Lazar's story, the guy, you know, I've watched his interviews that he's done throughout the years, and he's stayed consistent for
He has.
decades, telling the same
Jesus.
story, the same knowledge rate, the same, you know, speech tones, the same, you know, how I'm waving my arms. Well, I'm doing that right now because I'm talking, you know,
Yeah.
straight from my head, trying to come up with stuff. He doesn't do that.
Yeah. He only lied about his education, and all of a sudden everybody goes, he's lying about everything. So, and that's not true. I don't believe it either.
Yeah.
I
I believe
believe
he was lying
that he
about
has-
everything, but
He has knowledge for a reason, though. I don't know if it was because of him or where he got it from. So,
I think he did work on it at work in Area 51 at some
Yeah.
point. But after that,
that's true. Right.
After that-
Well, I don't dispute the fact that he worked at Area 51, and he may have even worked at S4, but he didn't have the security clearance ultimately to have.
but the fact that he predicted element 115.
I don't. The 115's the one
That-
thing
that
that's weird
freaks me
about the
out.
whole thing. You know, I don't know
Yeah.
where that came from.
There was an
And-
explanation on 115 that it was the next in line, basically, from the element. And that if you knew the charts and the way they were built, you could actually predict it. So, that could be a
Yeah, see-
possibility, too.
Well, see, they actually discovered 115 in 2008 via a particle accelerator, and
Right.
it wasn't stable enough to actually be useful.
Right.
Yep, correct.
Yeah.
So
And then the sports model, he talked about how it disappeared from the inside. You can see everything. You know how many times that comes in people's abductions that was before Lazar? Or that have never heard of Lazar. He can't just, I don't think he's making that up, and then all of a sudden, all these other people kind of, say, yeah, this is what the same thing they saw. So,
well, let me explain something to you. Yes, the government lied for the past half a century
90 years.
or 90 years
Yeah.
about UFOs. Yes,
Correct.
that is true. It was for defense purposes and national security, and I believe that.
I agree.
And I agree that something like it's fun that it created a whole community of people to gather around, and it wasn't even that bad that the government lied about that. But at the same time, yes, aliens do exist, and there is life out there. I mean, of course,
They crossed the line if
they
they're...
crossed the line. Yeah, they did.
Yeah. Well, especially when there's people coming up with statements that not only did they lie about it, but they took care of certain people that wanted to come out with it. That's when it becomes a problem, when there's murder involved, and it's and the RICO charges and all that. So that's why at this point, I don't think they can come out with going, yeah, we did all this, so that means
No, they really can't do anything.
right. Everything else is true.
They get.
There's going to be so
I
many
mean,
lawsuits.
remote viewing and all that stuff.
Yeah, the
used for war
CIA's
purposes. Come on, man. That stuff is all out there for the open for everybody to learn about. This stuff is not.
CIA, Russians,
Yeah.
they're all doing it for years.
Everybody's doing it, man.
Yep.
For people to think this is even weird nowadays,
It's not.
and it either it's not at this point. It's up to people like us to actually continue to explain to them,
Normalize.
normalize it, and actually kind of build a coalition of people to literally make disclosure
Happen.
a thing. Full disclosure. I'm not talking about these like.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
short
something weird out
phases.
there. We don't know what it is. Not just that. More than that.
I'll tell you one thing. What they're doing right now is like phase one of the soft disclosure. What's happening now is you're seeing Area 51 quite a bit in Hollywood.
Yeah. It's all over
And, I mean,
movies.
even in the Marvel movies, when you
Yeah.
start seeing stuff like that, that's when they're starting to normalize this stuff.
Yeah.
Have you
And they've
heard-
been doing that. Even in the new Venom movie,
That's
um,
has something with Area 51 in it.
yeah, it has something with Area 51 in it. And they even go inside Area 51,
Nice.
showing inside and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
A set of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Phil, did you
But-
see the documentary that's coming out with the Lazar, and he's actually did a deal or a video where they brought it to life his experience at S4, and they did digitally, and it's coming out here pretty soon.
I haven't seen it, but I'm going to be on the lookout for it because I watched.
It's
these
not. I don't think it's
those
out.
documentary.
It's
I don't
called,
think it's out yet.
I watched all of
Is
them.
it?
I forgot the name of it because I just
We'll have to
listened
pay
it.
for it,
There's
I'm
a
pretty sure.
trailer about it.
I kind of get my movies off of 1, 2, 3 movies, but
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean yeah, I watched all this stuff. Like I like everything that deal. I had my own experience in 2014,
Let's hear about that.
and this is something I've never talked about in a public forum. This is my tattoo. Even is a representation of my dream that I had. And I say it in dream form because that's when all my paranormal stuff happens in my before I go to sleep. And so I was out in dreamland, just getting there, and I'm lucid dreaming, laying in bed, and I see the ceiling disappear, right? And then I see this like black kind of, it was just black, just black hovering over. And I just started floating up in it, inside it. And then it was, yeah, it's a black saucer shape. It had no, you couldn't even see any kind of detail. It was just straight up like smooth, the smoothest smooth black you've ever seen. And the inside of the craft was, it reminded me of obsidian. Like
Oh, wow. Yeah.
it was, it just reminded me of like of an obsidian type of material.
Right.
And there was no controls, there was no anything I could identify that was anything that was shaped like a control panel or anything like that. Nothing but a hologram of a map of the stars, like constellations. And one of the reasons why I was like, wait, I'm kind of a that's something I do in my spare time, kind of learn about constellations and stuff like that. So the same deal with learning about watches and how you can tell time specific.
Right.
That's kind of something I did, and I was like, wait, I know what that is. That's Proxima Centauri, and the specific planet, I mean, that we were going to was Proxima Centauri B. And 2014, we didn't know that planet existed
Right.
until 2016.
Is that the one that's Earth-like you're talking about?
Yes,
Is it B?
it's a
It's
super
like
Earth.
30 times
Yeah.
the size, right?
Yeah. So when I saw that dream, the ship was, or I say ship, but the craft was like nothing but just smooth all around. No perforated edges or anything like that. But there's these two beings that were with me, and those you hear about the Nordic style
Yeah.
Right.
beings, the tall white
Yeah.
people with
Yep.
Yeah.
the
Tall whites.
that's-
Yeah.
that's what I experienced myself. It was like I saw, like you could see outside the ship even though you're inside. Like it was like still, it was like you could view outside the craft even though you're still in it, and there's no windows or anything like that.
You feel like you had a download? Did they tell you anything? Or was there a reason?
Basically all it was is, we are here. This is where we are. This, I
Essentially, you
When it
found us because we found
pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And I saw this in 2014, and my my Facebook was deleted in 2017. Okay? So I didn't have a Facebook for the past 9 years until literally last month. And that's how I started getting all these ads and starting adding people, got contact with Doug because
Shared
alien
interest.
probe, man.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't know you guys are MUFON, but
Yeah, I am. Well,
now
we
that
both are.
interests me, that interests me even more.
Yeah, it's been a good journey. We get the chance to talk to different people and about their experiences and about their. It's a lot of people don't have experiences. They've never. But let me ask about the ship you were on. You were inside, but yet was it translucent? You could just see outside, like there was.
Yes, so there's a point when you're traveling where you could see outside the craft, even though, like, the ship was black. It was just pure black on the inside. No, but the holograms that I'm talking about, they were blue, like a blue hologram kind of. But it was like pure black, like I said, like that obsidian material. And I say obsidian because you could even when you look at obsidian in the sunlight, you can see through it a little bit.
Yeah.
Right.
So when I talk about the ship was black on the inside and I say that because you could still see outside the craft.
Correct. Right. Nice.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine. I went to regression therapy with him about past lives. I don't know if you believe in that, but He had 3 or 4 past lives that the regression therapist brought out, and one of them was he was on a ship he was on an island. He was in this ship, and the ship went underwater. And then when it went underwater, you could actually see he was on that traditional table where it's like an operating room table.
Oh yeah.
And but he could see it was the exterior of the ship was just clear. And you could see all the fish. He could see underwater. You could just see it's like it just became complete visible, like there was no hull.
Like one of those tunnels that you see in
Exactly.
The Bahamas.
Yeah.
Like
It's
like
exactly
that. Yeah.
like that. And he said it was like he had 2 experiences, 2 different experiences that were involved being abducted. And I'd known him for a few years, and when he finally decided to do the regression therapy, invited me to it. And it was the most unusual experience I've ever had in my life.
How many times have you heard somebody say the exact place that they went to, exactly what the craft looked like, who they were talking to? We did like the panoramic kind of zoom around their solar system where they're from.
Yeah.
How many times have you heard an exact location?
Not many.
Not many, no. Yeah.
What was the Betty and Barney?
Well,
she had an exact location. Not many. There's not many out there. Most people.
Well, she was the Zeta Reticuli, where she was able to actually make an illustration of where the stars were.
I can't think of any other ones other than the one you just said as well. There's got to be. I'm sure there's a few more, but not many.
Well, when I saw the actual planet, the planet looked like it was, it looked like it had just gone through like some kind of blaze.
Oh, like it burned?
Yeah. And so, like, yeah, that's kind of why.
That's why they,
Yeah, because they're like, this is where we kind of were, and we need somebody to know.
Yeah, we need another place.
Yeah, we need another place.
Yeah.
And so, Earth.
It's just weird where we have, I mean, some people say there's 5 species. Some people say there's 47 species here. And different things.
Greer says there's thousands. There's an unlimited amount of species out there. There really is an unlimited amount of species out there because there's a limited amount of space.
Correct.
And there's water. There's water everywhere.
It's
everywhere.
The most prominent thing in the
carbon.
Space. Yep.
Yeah, carbon is everywhere.
That's correct.
And you could see life in so many different forms and shapes and sizes that our signals that we're using right now is not even caught up to what they're using now. Like, yeah, we're using radio satellites and everything like that. We have these specific signals like the WOW signal and all that were basically pulsars and stuff like that.
Right.
That scientists just didn't know what they were at the time. And now we're at the point where we probably can catch up because of AI. And we could communicate, I believe, with these life forms through a version of AI that is not what we have now, not ChatGPT, but it's going to happen.
It's either going to catch us up or we're going to kill ourselves with it.
Yeah. Or it'll kill us.
Yeah, that's what I mean, right?
So
we don't need you
anymore. Speaking of AI, I mean,
meat bag.
Speaking of AI, what could be born without a mother?
AI.
AI.
Yeah.
AI, artificial intelligence.
Yeah. Well, if you believe in religion, technically we are too, because we just come from a father.
Well. My dad is a pastor, so I think about this kind of thing a lot.
Right.
And Jesus could return back in the form of AI.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, wait. Now, have you discussed with your father about your belief? And
absolutely not, right? Yeah.
I actually no. I talk about it all the time with him. I'll straight up just like, mess with him.
That doesn't cause arguments.
I I know I have more knowledge about the Bible than he probably does, even him being a pastor.
Oh, you're asking for problems.
Well,
Yeah,
we had
yeah.
an ex-nun on here, and we had an opportunity to talk to her about it. And she gave the usual, yeah, well, you know, space is so big, it's got to be something out there. You know, I hear that.
Yeah.
If I have to hear that one more time,
Your God is so big.
you know,
he
yeah,
did
we
it
know
all.
that,
Yeah.
you know, but you put an alien in front of me, put a ship in front. How could all this stuff be happening and we never see any? You know, the average. Well, a lot of people see stuff, but I've never seen anything.
Well, I don't. You
That you
know,
remember,
No, that I remember. Yeah. My past life, maybe.
I mean,
right?
I mean, they got UFOs and Egyptian hieroglyphics and stuff like that, and drawings, and this
Yeah.
stuff has been
It's
going
been
on
around forever.
Yeah.
forever, and I just it's at a point now where it's
was-
like, if you don't believe in this stuff, you're just
Close-minded.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't
the
don't
blue
want to
pill.
believe.
You
took the blue pill.
blue pill.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It was here before us, and it'll be here after us. So-
I believe there's something there, but I think it's maybe been here for hundreds of thousands of years.
I think it all applies.
You
I
know,
think
it could be
they're
from-
out there, they're here, and
is,
they're around.
Is some of this
They-
us
they-
from the
they-
future?
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
I could be an alien. You
Correct.
never know.
Correct.
You never
Doug
know.
is. So
I'm an
he
alien.
just
Yeah.
That's why he hasn't seen him.
People, that's what people say.
Yeah.
Or I'm CIA. I'm either alien or CIA.
You can be both.
No, I have
Both.
worked with members of CIA on certain. You've heard of UFO Files, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I
Ron
love that
Milione?
show. I remember seeing that.
Yeah,
Wasn't that on?
Ron Milione. He's a buddy of
Yes.
mine.
Yes.
Yeah, I've worked with him, and it was about did a project on the Brown Mountain Lights in Linville Gorge,
Well,
in
yeah.
Carolina,
Okay.
and
Did you go up
so-
there?
dude, I got a cabin up there
Really?
in
Nice.
Asheville, yeah, in Marion, North Carolina, that literally overlooks that mountain range.
We need to come out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude,
Let's go,
yeah,
Doug.
dude. I got a security camera set up and everything.
Nice. Heck
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a beautiful big cabin. I mean, it's huge, and like if you guys came and kind of hung out, I'd
Heck
show
yeah.
you Brown Mountain Lights. It's pretty awesome.
That's all. We're gonna have to do that.
That-
A field trip.
Doug brings his UFO people.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, like I really believe that there's a missile silo there, and
Up
that
there.
gorge.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
In that area.
In the mountains?
I
Probably.
really believe that there's a silo,
Is there
underground
a-
silo that's causing all the weird malfunctions of equipment there.
Maybe. Correct. Yeah. Nukes, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why the UFOs are there. They
Mhm.
don't
They're
want us
attracted
to
to
blow
them.
ourselves up.
Yeah, they're attracted to them.
Yep.
You get any
As a matter of fact, that's like I did a lot of the mapping of I did so much research back, for the past 10 years, mapping out some of these locations and stuff, and all of these sightings deal with some sort of military base somewhere,
Uh-oh.
or
This is why we were
Silent.
having problems with the computer.
Probably.
'Cause what he's
This
talking
doesn't.
about-
If this didn't record, then it's all about that.
it's because of that.
It shows it's
No,
recording now wherever it is. I
I've
don't
literally,
know.
I have been silenced. Like I had no social media for the past.
That's probably a good idea.
Like I was basically shut down, and then
Really?
Facebook. When I came back, Facebook decided to give me a blue check.
Yeah.
We checked him out. He's good. He's good now.
People ask
Yeah.
me, aren't you worried about something happening? There's so many people that talk about this.
No,
stuff.
I think it's beyond the
It's
Men
not.
in Black.
This
days.
is like not. Nobody cares about.
It's beyond the Men in Black.
Nobody
days.
officially cares about this podcast.
They all
But
think
the,
we're
but,
kooks.
but the Men in Black
I
were
care.
actually a true division of, like the Men in Black actually were a thing. The Project Blue Book thing, it did happen, and Men in Black was about that. But
Yeah.
You know, the whole thing about humans or the aliens in human suits, that I believe is a real thing that happens. That is a real thing I believe that happens. I
Yeah.
mean, you look at some of these people in our government, some of them look like they could be a alien
Yeah.
in a human suit.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at Nancy Pelosi. Yeah.
I was thinking about that governor from the one with the purple hair,
Oh, who is
the
that?
glasses and the purple hair.
Yeah.
Her?
It's that she's that.
Yeah, she's a Democrat. I think.
I
from,
saw
like,
her. Yeah. I know who you're
Yeah.
talking
She's a
about.
robot.
She's something. I don't know what she is.
She's
but
something.
I think it's
But I
hard
mean,
to-
I
it's
tell
hard
you,
to figure out.
I think some of that is kind of real. Even when I was a kid and I saw that movie, as a matter of fact,
Doug has a few alien friends. There's a few people he knows. He goes, you know what?
They're aliens.
There's something. Yeah.
We actually know
I
a
collect
hybrid.
Hamilton watches. I collect Hamilton watches because of Will Smith watching that movie.
Oh, really? Is that true? Nice.
I've actually got Matt McConaughey's exact watch that he wore in Interstellar.
Really? Yeah. Show us.
Coupe.
You grab that real
Uh,
quick. Because he showed me, and I'm like, that is so
show and tell.
freaking cool.
Is
I'm
this
waiting
a
for a
real-
ship to come back and
Yeah, ship
behind
to
his,
come land.
land in his background.
Oh wow! There you
This
go.
is
Yeah,
this is it.
That is so cool.
that's
That's
amazing.
badass.
So that is that just like it, or is that the actual watch?
It's
Replica,
You know, it's
the
reproduction.
same one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
probably-
it's a
He probably
it's
has
not
it.
a reproduction or anything like that. It's just it's a Hamilton
Yeah, the same.
collectible from the
brand.
that Hamilton
Yeah.
they do that with promotional watches and movies all the time.
How many watches do you have, Phil?
Oh God, 20.
Oh, shit.
You seem to be obsessed with time.
I don't think I
I am obsessed with time because I've always been a
good
fan
observation.
of like time travel as well.
I was waiting for
You know,
that. Yeah, I believe.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big
Doug's
believer.
been on that for a while.
I'm a big believer in time travel.
And I also believe that there are beings that are traveling now as we speak into our reality.
Michael Masterson.
Yeah,
That's his.
Michael Masters.
but
Michael
yeah,
P. Masters.
Michael P. Masters. Masters, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, extra
Yeah.
tempestuals.
Yep.
So like they talk about the Greys and stuff like that. Like I don't know if you've seen Bashar, but I think what Bashar says a lot of is that reverse speech thing. It's so it's annoying, but some of the stuff he says is intelligent. And he said something like the Greys are a mutated form of us in the future coming back.
Right.
You
He's Michael. Yeah, he explains it too.
That's my pet theory, and people hate that theory. There's a lot of people
I
that
love
just.
that.
I think a lot of UFO
I think that's
people
a great theory.
don't want to get go believe in other things. I think that's what happens.
Yeah, I read that book.
Yeah,
I read his
he's
book,
got
and
two.
it was.
There's another one.
It's like a textbook, though, so
It
it's
is.
hard,
It's hard
to read.
reading. Yep.
Real hard to read.
I had a hard time in the first one.
It took me a long time to get through it. Because I'd read a paragraph and I'd have to think about what did I just even
Yeah.
read.
I'm not a rocket scientist.
I'm not that educated.
Well, I mean, I'm not
problem.
I'm not a rocket scientist myself, but I do have an aerospace engineering.
Yeah, you're
degree
smarter
from
than
the
I
Air Force.
am.
You're
I'll tell
smarter
you
than
that.
you're smarter
You're
than
smarter
we
than
are.
us.
That's all that counts.
Yep.
You
But
know.
yeah,
But I did sleep at a Holiday Inn. Yeah.
Project Gravatar is the Lazar. See, Gravatar. That's the new one. The Bob Lazar story S4 documentary,
Yeah.
summer of 2025. I wanted to give him some justice since Doug talks crap about him.
I do
so
talk
so it's
crap. I talk
so
a
it's
lot
going to
of
be
crap about
released
Bob.
this summer, or
Yeah.
is it already
Yep.
released?
No, it hasn't came out yet. So 20, and then it's supposed to come with some kind of like computer simulation where you can actually walk in the
Yeah,
S4.
they did it digitally.
Yeah, and that's supposed to be really good.
that's what I've wanted to see for a long
Same.
time.
I want to really see that part.
We've seen Area 51
Correct.
quite
A
bit.
million times.
I Do you remember when he had the let's invade Area 51?
Yeah.
Yeah, on
Yeah.
Facebook.
That
Yeah.
was like back in like 2016 or
Yeah.
something.
I was signed up
I
for
was
that.
like,
I wasn't going to
I,
go,
I
but I
was
was
one of
signed
the
up.
first 100 people on that Facebook group page,
Right.
just laughing at this.
Doug bought
you know,
a bus, and we had all these people ready to go. And no, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
That's
it's-
not what he did.
No, dude,
I knew
I
what would
went-
happen if you invade Area
Yeah.
51. I was in the army. I
Pew,
know
pew.
you're going to get shot.
I've been to Rachel, Nevada, and I've been outside Area 51 playing Pokemon Go, and I got a Pikachu from
Was there
outside
one of the
desert
things
playing
there in
Pokemon
Area
Go.
51?
Yeah,
Of course
Yeah.
there was, probably.
like if you go to Area 51 playing Pokemon Go, like it stops, like it doesn't
really?
show. Yeah, it doesn't show anything.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Even in Pokemon Go.
He's
like,
right, though. It should have like an alien Pokemon you can get from at least the border
But
of
it's
area.
not. They're desert and like fire and electric Pokemon.
Oh, okay.
That you like
That you can get on.
Zapdos
Right.
and like Eevee and Pikachu and stuff like that.
Right.
Those Pokemon. And Charizard. I got a Charizard at the Roswell sign, sitting at the sign at Roswell right now. Welcome to Roswell. I got a Charizard sitting right there. That's how I make my contributions to the community. Bill's been here.
Yeah.
In here.
I got it here.
I played that Pokemon thing with my son.
Did you?
Well, I
Yeah.
followed him around.
My kids too.
It was interesting.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
I still have my Game Boy from 1990s.
So when
and,
are you gonna write a
and-
book?
You're right out of Ready Player One.
I'm actually finishing up my book
Really?
right now. Yeah, actually finishing it up and gonna be getting out there by the end of the summer, by August.
You should come back on, so that we can.
Yeah,
talk.
after you get the book out. Do you have a title for the book yet?
It's basically just a biography of. It's an autobiography, and it's like stories that I've experienced.
That's awesome.
That and theory and what it is basically I have my theory presented, and then I have my experience that kind of coincides with that theory
Right.
and why I believe
I
the
like
way
that.
I do. And so
I'd buy it.
that's kind of the way I structured it.
Yeah,
And
that's cool.
With the experience and the evidence that coincides with the theory that I
Yeah.
thought up, or that I learned from some other investigator,
That's awesome.
So
That's
and it's
awesome.
been I don't even know what I have it titled as, right? It's
Well,
just,
when you get it done, then send me a note that that it's ready to be when it's published, so we can pimp it for you. We have a
for
few
sure.
authors on here. Sometimes we interview authors that have nothing to do with science fiction or even UFOs. We have a couple PR firms that ask us to talk to the authors to help get the word out. We're not even that big. I don't know why they even. I don't know why they. Honestly, I don't.
We're big enough.
Yeah, just big enough to be able to do that.
You got me on, so
Well, this is pretty special.
there.
And
This
you're
is
in-
special.
North Carolina, correct?
in South Carolina.
South Carolina, okay. I don't see-
I got a family cabin up in.
There
North
is a
Carolina.
MUFON director in South Carolina, but it does not show an actual meeting out there from MUFON.
You probably don't have a person to do it. Maybe you should do it, Phil. You should call.
I should. I would be
You
the
could be
perfect
the
person.
South. You could be the North Carolina.
I'll have Doug send
South
you the
Carolina.
information. You can talk to Cheryl Ann Gilmore, South Carolina
Okay.
state
yeah,
director.
Yeah.
And see if they
Yeah, for
want.
sure.
They need
I
a state
thought-
director there.
I think I've heard of Cheryl's name before. Actually.
Yeah, she's related to the North Carolina one too, because they have or at least they share the same name, David Glidewell. So I would imagine they're related.
Probably.
They'll ask you to be an investigate to go through the investigator course. Though,
I'll
I
send
think.
this to Doug, and he can send it to you.
Yeah, I'll send it over to you.
Yeah,
But then you'll have to
but-
do the investigator course, which costs $100 or something.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, I tried to take the test. I failed the test like 3 times. I missed it by like
But
5
I mean, what
points.
kind of questions are on a MUFON test, anyways? Like,
They ask a lot of things. They ask
like-
a lot
like
of stuff
what-
about
like
it's
dates?
like Betty and Barney Hill. They ask you about questions about that.
Do they?
And-
Oh,
like Ros, dude, I
you can
got
pass
all,
it.
all the dates and information you could ever even know. All these project, like CIA declassified projects and everything.
Right.
That's my specialty.
Right. I'll
That's
bet
like
you-
it's weird. It has nothing to do with that. It's not even fun. It's like it's having to do with what degree is if you're looking and you see a ship here, what degree is that?
Oh yeah,
of?
yeah, yeah. Like how to.
You'd
like,
probably
how
be
to
okay
tell-
with that because you're in the Air Force.
Yeah,
You
of
probably
course.
deal with that.
And-
Where's
and
the
not
sun?
That video that I showed you.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
video that I showed you,
Yeah.
the where it was hovering and then it just shoots off. I knew
Yeah.
exactly what direction it was in, and I knew where it was
Yeah.
headed.
I don't think
And I
tests
know-
are supposed to be fun.
It guides you so that if you do an investigation, you know what to ask the
Oh, yeah.
witness, and you have to look at different things on the ground about what is like
Terrain.
grass. If the grass is smashed down and that kind of thing.
Right.
It was a lot of it was pretty dry. There's 80. It's like 80 questions, 80 or 100 questions, something like that. There's no time limit. You can take forever, but
Oh, bro, I know I could. I probably have all the information on
You
that
can
test in my
look
head right
up the
now.
answers too, right?
it was
Is it open book?
it was open book, yeah.
Yeah.
But the book's pretty thick, so it's like you have to. And then there's like 5 questions that I swear were
I'd
not.
Google them.
I did that too.
Really?
And I didn't get the right.
Oh,
no
wow.
matter how I did it, I got exactly 5 wrong.
Like, give me an example of a question that, and I'll see if I can answer.
I don't have it in front of me. It's been like 2 years since I've done this. I don't.
Sounds like the California bar.
Yeah, it's the bar exam. Yeah, it's not hard. I don't think it's really hard. I did it really fast, and because I hate taking tests, and so
Yeah, I hate taking tests because like whenever I read, like the letters just jumble up, and I've always been
Yeah.
bad test taker like that. But when I did the ASVAB, my ASVAB score was up there. And
Nice.
Mine was
and it was
huge,
in the
too.
90s.
It
I
has
was
to be
like,
for Air
how?
Force, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, for Air Force, you
It's
got to
like,
test
how
hard.
is it that I did so bad in school, yet like I take a test for that, and I'm
You're
like,
fast. You're like,
it's the military. It's a completely different intelligence reasoning thing. I aced it too. And did you have the one where the little box is taken apart and you have to? Okay, what's the box look like when it's put together?
oh,
You know what I mean?
really?
It had nothing. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, this isn't brain surgery.
I can
Okay.
pass that.
yeah, it had like what's the difference between a nut and a bolt, and
Yeah, it had
You know,
really weird. It had
yeah,
really
stuff like
simple. Really, and I'm like, how do people even get this wrong? It's it's-
But people do. I swear to you, there's my fiance's son. He is in college right now, for aerospace engineering.
Nice.
no good.
But the kid, he's smart in school. But the kid, he was never taught life skills.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
way kids are nowadays.
That's
though.
totally
yeah.
that's totally different.
A lot of my kids are too. They're very book smart, but when it comes to outside life, not so much.
Well, Matt, whose fault's that?
Bro,
That is my fault.
bro, like when I was 17,
And I did that
like,
on purpose.
When I was 17, I'd already joined the Air Force, and I was in bands. I was in bands also traveling all around the country in every city, in major states, or every state, major cities in every state, and I've been all over America.
Like school band?
Not school. No, I'm talking about like bands like OTEP in this moment.
Oh, you play?
Um,
You're a musician?
I managed those
Nice.
bands, but I did play one show one time with Nonpoint.
I've heard of them. I've heard of OTEP. I've heard of
So,
This
so
Moment.
there's video out there.
Heard of
There's
all the
video out.
ones.
Yeah, there's video out there of me
Nice.
at the Masquerade in Atlanta.
Nice.
So, I mean, there's video out there of me performing on stage, like just random people video and stuff like that.
Right. That's cool.
But from like when I was a kid.
See, there's your musician seeing
Yes,
something.
yeah, well, they say that, I don't know if you ever heard this before, but people are musically inclined to see UFOs because of, you know.
We know how to deal. We know how to manipulate sound and frequency ranges. We know how to.
That's my favorite.
I really wish people would use different language when they're talking about this type of stuff. Like you hear people say words like energy, frequency, all the time, and they use these words, and it basically makes it mundane and just boring to talk about.
That's your
Like
next book.
Yeah.
Yes, that's gonna be something where I just like teach people the
Yep.
different types of languages we could use to make people actually interested in what we're talking about.
That might be the
Yeah.
next step. You're right.
I think
Yeah,
that is
that'd
the
be a
next
good way.
step
Yeah. I
because
think you're right.
because people use God as frequency. All the you hear people in the Love and Light, Peace, and Unicorn Fart community. They will say stuff like that, and they've basically just ruined the whole idea of the paranormal.
They make it unfun.
They did. They took up the whole science aspect
Yeah.
out of it,
Yeah.
and so now we have to use different words instead of frequency. Use words like signature resonance.
There you go.
Stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Cool. All right, Phil.
So
Well,
you got to write your book, and then you're on.
Write
again.
your
we
book.
We need you on again.
We'll bring
Yeah,
it back
for sure.
on.
Really good talk.
Yeah, I enjoyed talking to you guys. This is
Same.
the first time this is actually second interview I've done since I've been back in the game, and
Nice. Welcome back.
Well, if the
I've always been in the game, but
Yeah.
it wasn't in
Out and about it.
internet land.
If
Yeah. Oh.
if the recording didn't work, my apologies. It was good to talk to you for an hour anyway.
Yeah, for sure. That went by too quick, anyways.
It did. It really does.
All right. Thanks for listening to the latest episode of the Alien Probe Podcast. We welcome comments, questions, requests to alienprobepodcast@gmail.com. Visit us on Facebook. Check out our website, alienprobe.net, Twitter and Instagram at alienprobepod, YouTube, Rumble, and Patreon at Alien Probe Podcast. Thank you, Phil Summers.
So awesome to meet you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
after you get
Thank
that
you,
book
guys.
done, come back on.
Yeah, well, it's got it it's so it's
Yeah.
in the editing
Finish
phase.
it and get it finished. See you then. Thank you.
All right.